Oh shit. Here we go again.
Guys, what's up? Welcome back to another video. Today we're doing a little install on this brand new 2022 Pro R. We are doing some PRP seats and belts, replacing the stock stuff with the good stuff. These look sick. So we're doing an install on this 2022 Polaris Pro R. This machine is badass. What makes it more badass is these seats. This customer of mine got some custom seats made with this vinyl ostrich and vinyl red carbon fiber. These things look amazing. These are the GTSE seats, and these are the 4.3 seat harnesses. And to top it off, we also did a steering wheel in suede, kind of same steering wheel I have on my machine, but this one with the red trim and stitching. Check that out. So we're gonna go over the install step by step, front and rear, but I do want to make a note before we start this video, and so you guys are aware if you plan to buy seats for your Pro R. So the Pro R is a little bit different than the Turbo R and the Pro XP in the sense that in the rear you have a clutch housing that you need to have access to. So as of today, there is no seat brackets specifically made for the Pro R, and what we're gonna be installing are the seat brackets for Pro XP or Turbo R. So on the Pro XP and Turbo R, it doesn't matter. These brackets will work just fine, and these are the ones you're gonna want for your machine. If you have a Pro R, just know that PRP is working on seat brackets, so you can make it a little bit easier to remove your seats. On the 2-seat, I'm sure you can slide the seats forward and gain access to the clutch housing. I'm not 100% on that. Maybe you guys can chime in, but definitely on a 4-seat, because the seats don't really slide forward or back, PRP is working on a solution for that, so you gain access to your clutch housing, replace your belt, and do all your maintenance and all that stuff. So the new Pro R, based on the Pro XP platform, but obviously revamped with a new frame and such. The interior is pretty much the same as the Pro XP and Turbo R. The seats are the same. The way these seats come out, the way the harnesses are installed, everything is exactly the same. So the stock seats, a lot of you guys have a love or hate relationship with these seats. A lot of you guys like them, a lot of you guys don't like them. And I think a lot of that has to do with the pockets that they put in the center for airflow. Some of you guys find that comfortable, and some of you guys find that uncomfortable because it's kind of riding your spine. So I don't have enough seat time for me to give a good opinion. So if you guys can, comment down below if you own one of these machines, or maybe you sat in one at a dealership, and let me know what you think. I will say this is a huge upgrade over the older models, the Turbo S, the XP, XP4, XP Turbo.
Are we trash?
Those models had the worst seats ever. On those models, a lot of guys were putting in PRP seats. Now, PRP is one of the biggest out there when it comes to suspension seats, and they are really high quality. Now, on their website, you can customize all the trim to make it custom to your machine. For example, this guy has a gray paint scheme with red accents everywhere, and that kind of goes with the theme of the seats, and they look really, really bitchin'. So the GTSE, the GT3, the XER, and I believe the RST are all very similar in the fact that they are suspension style seats. They have foam over a frame, and at the bottom here there's a nylon style material, kind of like on a trampoline.
Stop acting like an idiot.
That absorbs some of the bumps that you would normally feel on a stock seat that's more fixed. The biggest benefit to that is whatever your shocks don't absorb in that rough terrain, the seats may absorb it in that trampoline style material. You're absorbing that impact right there, right on your bottom. So that's gonna help a lot with comfort. If you guys wanna impress your wives, go ahead, get her some seats, and she'll be wanting to ride with you a lot more, especially if you get them a heated seat model. They offer heated seats. That's pretty cool. So before I turn this on the bottom to show you that material, I want to cover this in the back. A lot of seats, and I mean a lot of seats that you will see at the dealers and they try to upsell you on, they will sell you seats that don't have any sort of what do you call it, water deflection or water drainage. And that's this right here. So the seat is actually passed through in this section. So when you wash your machine, there's not a huge puddle of water in the seat, and then you got to go get a chamois and wipe it off, and yeah, that's a pain in the butt. This has its own drainage, really cool. Keep an eye. If you guys don't get PRPs, that's fine. Whatever seats you're buying, if they don't have some sort of drainage, just know you're gonna have that issue with the water is piling up and puddling, and that's kind of annoying. So here you can see that material that I was talking about. It's actually a very similar material to that netting there, actually a little bit different. Like I said, kind of like a trampoline style material, and that will absorb impact. And we also have those bungee style cords that help absorb. Oh, it's gonna be hard to do that on camera, but you can see my hand pushing through, and that's the absorption that I'm talking about. So that's gonna make a big difference for you guys in that rough terrain, help smooth out those bumps. So like I said, multiple models of these suspension seats, and if you're interested in one of the suspension seats, make sure you hit us up at glifeutv.com. The seats are on the website, and if you want a custom setup like this one, just hit us over email and we'll get you taken care of. Now, besides the seats, we're gonna be putting on some belts. And quickly, I wanna talk about two different style of belts that I have here to show you guys. The ones that are going on this machine are gonna be these right here. These are the 5.3s. The first number is the number of attachment points, and the last number is actually the width of the belt. So 5 attachments and 3 inches wide. So the 5.3s have a difference between the 4.3s in the fact that they are not stitched together. There are 5 individual belts. So 2 at your waist, 2 at your shoulders, and 1 for your submarine belt at your crotch. So they're all separate, and you have to join them all together in order to buckle your seatbelt. And we'll show you that later on in this video on those seats. I personally like the 4.3s, and that's what I run on my machine. There's a big difference between them in the fact that they are stitched together at the waist. So the waist side belt on one side is attached to the shoulder side on the same side.
Wait, what?
We're gonna go ahead and pull these seats out. It couldn't be any easier. There's a lever here, and then you can pretty much grab your seat and pull it forward, and that just unhooks. And that's the last we'll ever see of this seat. The rear seat is just as simple. You move the harnesses off to the side. There's a little lever here that you can go ahead and pull. That comes right out. If you have a Pro Ultimate model, this seat will actually fold forward and it becomes like a little cargo area. On this Sport model, you don't have that. You just have to unbolt the seat at these 6 screws. There's 1 here, 2 in the front on one side and 2 in the front on the other side. Same exact thing for both sides. Guys, if you're liking this video so far, hit the like button. I highly appreciate it. And hit the subscribe button if you're new. If you want to support the channel, you can also buy merchandise at glifeutv.com, and you get a shirt like this one, as well as some hats that we got coming really soon. So check that out. Anyways, back to the video. There is some hardware you're going to want to remove, but keep in mind, like I said, PRP is working on a future update as far as the brackets for the Pro R. So if you have a Pro XP and a Turbo R or a Pro R, it doesn't matter, keep your old hardware. But what we're gonna do right now is gonna remove this bar here. It's really simple, it's only 4 T40s. And then right over here on the front seat, you're actually gonna remove this quick release bracket system because we're no longer gonna use that. And it's just 8 10 millimeters. But again, keep the hardware just in case. You never know when something will change. I'm just letting you guys know so you guys don't throw away your stuff and then something else comes out and you guys blame me.
Now we can blame him for everything.
It's your fault I'm bald.
I'm sorry.
It's your fault I'm old.
I'm sorry.
For the front seats, they give you 4 brackets, 2 for each side. And as you can see here, they have a one-way direction. And you can tell literally by the cutouts, you see the triangle and that U-shaped cutout. Now that is gonna go one on this side and the other one, and this is how you know how they go, because the V cutout is where that spring goes and the U-shaped cutout is where the lever cutout is at. So those will go on something like this. So I put these on here so you guys can understand how they go. But first, we're actually gonna bolt these onto the seats. We'll leave them on there loosely, and then once they're on there, we can mount them to the car and then put the rest of the hardware. We'll put the seat on its back, and then we'll mount up those brackets to the seat. The brackets have 2 holes on them. Just keep in mind to put them on the forwardmost hole, and then that will be for the both sides. And then you will tighten up the bolts just about until they start getting tight. You want to actually back it up maybe a full turn or half a turn until there's enough wiggle room, because you're gonna want these to have a lot of play so you can install them on the seat base. I use a little bit of thread locker so we don't have any issues with them coming loose in the future, but essentially this is a real straightforward process. This being the forward of the seat, that's what the bracket should look like installed. You want the triangular cut going towards the front of the seat. And like I said, these are not completely tight, and that's because we want to be able to move them just a little bit when we install them on the base. Now we'll get to that in just a second. Now we're gonna swap out the belts. On this machine it's really simple because on the top system it's a loop over on the bar, and on the bottom it's just a nut and bolt. 16 millimeter, 18 millimeter wrench, that pops right off. This is gonna be a very similar process for the rear. Always keep in mind how you're gonna orientate the latching system. I like to keep this guy on my right hand because most of us are right-handed.
I'm just gonna go and check my mail over there.
Just make sure you do that all around for all 4 belts. This is gonna be pretty simple. Now we can install our seat. All right, in the rear it's really simple because you can actually see the holes. We're gonna need to push this one rearward here. And the holes are a little slotted. They're almost in over here. I think I'm being held up in the front, so I'll just double check the other side and see if they falls in. With that in place, you go ahead and put the nuts, install those. I highly recommend a ratcheting wrench. Then install or tighten up the bolts that go into the seats. There's 4. Remember, we left them slightly loose so these can fall in. And that'll be done for the seat install. And then we can put on the seat belts. And I'll show you guys how to loop those. It's really simple.
5 minutes later.
I'm warning you right now. This is the most time-consuming part.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
All right, for the shoulder harness, you're gonna want to take this apart and remove this guy. You're no longer gonna use this. We're gonna get some link on here. I'm gonna match it to the other side, but we're gonna pull this down a little bit. Doesn't get any better than that.
Perfect.
And actually, I forgot the 5th point, but I'll quickly show you how I installed it on the driver's side. So the GTSC seats don't have the 5th point built in. They do, however, have this little loop here, which I like because you kind of loop that through there and it helps grab the belt a lot easier. And then towards the bottom for the pros, it's really simple. You just kind of loop it over the square tubing that's right there, and that'll be perfect for the setup. So, all right, for the rear seat, essentially the belt install is exactly the same thing. They're just in slightly different locations, and at the top you are reusing a nut and bolt, and you're reusing that link that comes with the belts. Now for the rear seat itself, they do give you a new bracket. Now again, Turbo R Pro XP gonna work great. Future model coming for the Pro R. Yeah, you probably keep up with PRP on their YouTube channel. They'll probably cover that in a future video. So we'll install this. It's really simple. Kind of same thing as this one. You install the bracket onto the seat. You can fully tighten this one down, but there is a kind of a position you want to be at. And I'll go ahead and measure it on the other side just to keep it kind of the same thing. And what I'm talking about is the holes on the bracket are slotted, so you can move the seat back and forth and then tighten it down where you feel it's comfortable. Essentially, these are gonna go like this, and then we'll figure out the slotted hole and I'll get back to you. All right, looks like I got the seat right where I want it. Let's pull this sucker out and let me show you. Get a measuring tape here. And when you are installing your bolts towards the front, you're gonna want to leave a gap of about, I would say, 3/4 of an inch. So the slotted hole, you're gonna have 3/4 inch exposed, both sides obviously, and then tighten up the bolts and you're good to go. You can install your seat. Before I install the seat, I'm gonna go ahead and put the new belts on. Same process as the front, and then I think we'll be done. We'll have new PRP seats on the Pro R. Let's do it. Well, there it is, guys. There you have it. PRP seats, harnesses, and even a steering wheel on this machine. Also, I didn't show you guys this, but he even got a custom bag. Check that out. All to match with his machine. If you guys want any of these products, make sure to hit us up at glifeutv.com. Shoot us an email if you want something custom. And don't forget to shop any of the other US companies that we support on the website and get your merch at glifeutv.com. We'll see you guys in the next one. Stay dirty. Peace out.